Hi everyone! In this video, we're going to take a look at the order of operations. So you might have heard of the expression PEMDAS, and that's really important. So P stands for parentheses, E for exponents, M for multiplication, D for division, A for addition, and S for subtraction. So go ahead and write it down and we'll do some examples. Let's begin with 1 plus 56 divided by 7. So here we see there is the addition. We also see division. And the PEMDAS rule says that you have to do the one that is on top first. So let's do the D first. We have 56 divided by 7. What does that give you? That gives you 8, right? So 56 divided by 7 gives you 8. We can check this one off. And then we have the addition. So 1 plus 8 gives you 9. And then we can check this one. How about 12 plus 10 divided by 2 minus 1? So here we see several things. So we see addition, we see subtraction, and division. And again, using the PEMDAS rule, you have to do the one on the top. So let's do division. 10 divided by 2 gives you 5. And we just copy the rest down. So we have the plus, we have 12, we have the minus, we have the 1. And what else do we have to do? We see addition, so let's go ahead and do that. 12 plus 5 gives you 17. And then we still have the minus 1. Then subtraction. So 17 minus 1 gives you 16. Negative 6 times 7 plus negative 36 divided by 3. We see that there is the multiplication. We see there is the division. But they're not next to each other, so we're not going to draw squares. We just draw the circle. We have multiplication, division, and addition. Negative 6 times 7 gives you negative 42. So multiplication is finished. Negative 36 divided by 3 is negative 12. And division is finished. Negative 42 plus negative 12 is the same as negative 42 minus 12. And that is going to give you 54. 4 times 10 to the power of 2. We see multiplication, and we see the exponent. So let's go ahead and do the exponent first. 10 to the power of 2 is the same as 10 times 10. And keep in mind that the dot means multiplication. So instead of writing the dot, I can also write the multiplication sign. It means the same thing. So exponent is finished. Now, all of these are multiplication signs. So you just do from the left to the right. 4 times 10 gives you 40. And 40 times 10 gives you 400. 56 divided by 2 to the power of 3 times 20. So we see the exponent, we have to do that first. What is 2 to the power of 3? Can someone tell me? Well, 2 to the power of 3 is 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. And here we see division and multiplication, and they are next to each other. So this is going to be a square. And this means we do from the left to the right. So 56 divided by 8 is going to give you 7. And 7 times 20 is 140. 7 to the power of 2 minus 6 to the power of 0 times 3, or multiply by 3. So go ahead and pause this video and see if you can try it. Now let's go through this problem. We have to do the exponent first. So 7 to the power of 2 is 7 times 7, which is 49. And 6 to the power of 0 is what? It's going to be 1. Now we see multiplication and subtraction. we have to do multiplication first. So 1 times 3 gives you 3. And 49 minus 3 is 46. 7 to the power of 2 times 6 minus 3. And now we start to see parentheses. So we have to do the parentheses first. 6 minus 3 gives you 3. We see the exponent now, so we have to do the exponent. 7 to the power of 2 is 7 times 7, which again gives you 49. And what is 49 times 3? Well, it is going to be 147. 5 times 3 minus 9 times 2. And this is in parentheses, so we have to do this one first. So in this parentheses, we see multiplication and subtraction. So we must do multiplication first. 9 times 2 gives you 18. Three minus 18 is negative 15. And 5 multiplied by negative 15 is what? It's going to be negative 75. Negative 9 divided by 3 in brackets divided by negative 6 to the power of 2 divided by 12. So this is just also another way of writing the bracket. Now in this bracket we have negative 3 divided by all of this. And let's go ahead and do negative 6 to the power of 2 first. So negative 6 to the power of 2, like this, is the same as negative 6 times negative 6. And that's going to be positive 36. (36) divided by 12 is going to be 3. And negative 3 divided by 3 is negative 1. See, not so bad, right? 5 times 3 minus 1 in brackets times 50 divided by 5 to the power of 2. So in this bracket, we have multiplication and subtraction. 5 times 3 gives you 15. And over here, we have 50 divided by 5 to the power of 2, which is 25. So 15 minus 1 is 14, easy. And 50 divided by 25 is 2. And 14 times 2 is 28. 11 minus 3, the special thing about this is this whole thing to the power of 2. And I'll show you how to do that in a second. Divided by 6 squared, same thing as 6 to the power of 2, minus 4 in brackets. Now, what is 11 minus 3? That's going to be 8, and this 8 is still in the brackets, and we have to include the exponent. 6 to the power of 2 is 36. Now, 8 to the power of 2 is 64. And 36 minus 4 is 32. So this will give you 2. 12 divided by negative 4 is negative 3. On this side, 2 to the power of 2 is 4. So 10 times 4 is 40, and 40 plus 1 is 41. Now last thing, negative 3 times 41 is negative 123. Negative 1 to the power of 3 minus 5 in brackets to the power of 2 minus 6 minus 4 divided by 2, and this whole thing to the power of 2. So first of all, what is negative 1 to the power of 3? Well, negative 1 to the power of 3 is the same as negative 1 times 1 to the power of 3. And that's very important to know. So this will give you negative 1. Now, -1 minus 5 is -6. And 4 divided by 2 is 2. So what is -6 in brackets to the power of 2? Well, -6 in brackets to the power of 2 is the same as -6 times -6, which gives you positive 36. 6 minus 2 is 4, and 4 to the power of 2 is 16. And finally, 36 minus 16 is 20. Let's do something a little bit more challenging. We have 3 times 4 times -3 plus 8 to the power of 2. And this power of 2 is inside this angle bracket. So let me show you how to do this one. So again, 3 times 4 times. What is -3 plus 8? It's going to be positive 5. Inside this entire thing, we see an exponent. So what is 5 to the power of 2? That's going to be 25. 3 times 4 times 25, which is 100. And 3 times 100 gives you 300. -24 divided by -2 minus 10 times 7 minus 2 to the power of 3. Well, let's do the ones in these brackets first. So we have -24 divided by, what is the answer to this bracket? Well, -2 minus 10 is -12. How about this one? We see to the power of 3, which gives you 8. So 7 minus 8. Now what is 7 minus 8? That's going to be -1. Now we have -24 divided by -12 times -1, which will give you positive 12. And -24 divided by 12 gives you -2. Or plus 5 minus 1 times 7 divided by 14. So here we see the normal bracket, then we see the angle bracket, and then we see another set of brackets. So there's a lot of brackets going on here. Let's do this one. We see that this one is the innermost bracket. 5 minus 1 gives you 4. And now let's do this one. So 4 times 7 gives you 28. 28 divided by 14 is 2. 4 plus 2 is 6. -1 plus the square root of 81 divided by 9. So when you have the square root, you can treat it as an exponent, and I'll show you why. And that's because the square root of 81 can be rewritten as 81 to the power of 1 over 2. And this right here is an exponent. We have -1 plus 81 to the power of 1 over 2 divided by 9. So the square root of 81 is 9. 9 divided by itself is 1. And -1 plus 1 is 0. The square root of 4 times 9 divided by 2 plus 4. So whenever you have the square root and there is an expression inside it, you have to simplify that expression first. So 4 times 9 gives you 36, and that 36 is inside the square root. Then we have to do the square root first. So the square root of 36 is 6. Here we have 6 divided by 2, and that's going to be 3. And 3 plus 4 is 7. -8 minus the square root of 24 plus 3 divided by 3. So we have to do the expression under the square root first. We see 3 divided by 3, so that's going to be 1. 24 plus 1 is 25. And the square root of 25 is what? It's going to be 5. And lastly, negative 8 minus 5 is negative 13. Negative 20 divided by negative 7 plus 2 in brackets. So what is negative 7 plus 2? It is going to be negative 5. And negative 20 divided by negative 5 is positive 4. The square root of 4 is equal to 2, and 2 plus 5 is 7. The square root of 79 minus 5 times 2 to the power of 4 plus 2. So 2 to the power of 4 is 16. And here we see multiplication, so negative 5 times 16 is negative 80. Now we do from left to right, so 79 minus 80 is negative 1, plus 2, it's going to be positive 1. So at the end of the day, we just have the square root of 1, which is 1. For this problem, we see that there is a parentheses outside, then there are two nested square roots. So we have to do the inner square root first. Let me show you how to do this one. So 4 to the power of 2 is 16. 2 to the power of 4 is also 16. So 16 times 16 can be rewritten as 16 squared. Now let me show you a trick. When you have a number, let's say a to the power of 2, and there's also a square root outside, then the square root and the exponent won't cancel itself out. So in this case, you just have a. Using this formula, we know that this entire thing will give us 16. Sixteen times 2 is 32. And 32 plus 4 is 36. The square root of 36 is 6. We have the exponent over here, so we have to do this one. 3 to the power of 2 is 9. And 6 minus 9 is negative 3. And negative 3 to the power of 2 is the same as negative 3 times negative 3, which is positive 9. Now we have 3 to the power of 3 plus 17 divided by this entire expression, which is negative 6 plus negative 8 times 2. So let's go ahead and do the numerator first. This is called the numerator, and this one is called the denominator. We just solve it normally. So 3 to the power of 3 is 27 plus 17. At the bottom, we have negative 6 plus negative 8 times 2, which gives us negative 6 plus negative 16. So at the numerator, we're going to have 44. And the bottom, we have negative 22. So 44 divided by negative 22 will give us negative 2. What if there are absolute values? Well, you treat the absolute values like its own brackets. So we have 4 minus 9, that's going to be negative 5 in brackets, or absolute value of negative 5, times 17 minus 5 gives you 12, minus 8 divided by negative 2 is negative 4, or the absolute value of negative 4. Now, the absolute value is very easy. You just turn whatever number in here into its positive version. So negative 5 becomes positive 5 times 12, and negative 4 becomes positive 4. 5 times 12 gives you 60, and 60 minus 4 is 56. And that's basically it for today. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, don't forget to subscribe and like, and also comment down below if you have any questions.